Okay, welcome to the webinar. This is Yvonne here, and I'm going to share with you this evening how to turn your 10k bed and breakfast hobby into a professional 100k bed and breakfast business. So let's move on here. So who am I? Some of us I've met before, as I was just saying before we started, but some of us are new. We're just meeting here today. So let me tell you a little bit about me. I'm Yvonne Halling, and I'm the owner of Les Molyneux Bed and Breakfast in the Champagne region of France. As you can probably tell, I'm not French, I'm actually British, but I've been living here in the Champagne region of France on and off for the last 17 years. I started out running my B&B 12 years ago, and it was just a hobby without the internet, making on average 10 to 15,000 euros a year, taking anybody who came along and having fun with it and closing the door whenever I felt like it. However, around 5 years ago, my circumstances changed and I became the one to support my family. And we had some personal problems in the family, and we slipped into a hole of financial difficulties, and I literally woke up one day and thought to myself, well, somebody's got to do something. So really not knowing at all what was possible from a bed and breakfast business, because bearing in mind I'd only been making 10,000 euros a year previously, and I have to tell you with a pounding heart as well, because it was all very daunting, I set about it, and within 6 months I surprised myself and had quadrupled that annual revenue. And the following 12 months I doubled it again to 6 figures in euros. And I've been consistently making 6 figures over the last few years. Plus, I take 2 weeks off in what some would call the height of the season, in August every year, and I take time out for myself on a regular basis. So today, on this webinar, I'm going to show you the steps that I took, giving you the blueprint for your own success, plus I'm going to share with you live on the webinar today one strategy that you can use straight away in your B&B business, no matter where you are. So, now that I've told you a little bit about my story, I'd really love to know a bit more about you. Let's just move on. I've quadrupled my income, doubled it again, consistently make over 100,000 a year, and I'm also a certified coach. So before we get into who this webinar is for, just put in the questions box if you can. Some of you have already told me who you are and where you're from, but if you haven't already, just introduce yourself in the webinar, in the questions box on the right hand side of the screen, so that we can meet here on the webinar, so that I know who you are. So if you could just type your name and where you're from. If you haven't done so already, then we can meet here now. So we have Roger. Thanks, Roger. Hi, Roger. Nice to meet you. Lovely. We have Mike in Arizona. Lovely. We have Glenn. Hi, Glenn. Nice to meet you. We have Kit from Jersey. We have Maria from Florida. We have Tom and Betsy from Houston. Hi, Debbie. That's nice to see you. That's great. In the Finger Lakes. Lovely, lovely. Okay, we have Sunny from Lewiston. Oh, hi, Susan. Hi, we have Susan from Parry Sound in Canada. Hi, lovely to meet you. Hi, Joe. Nice to see you again. Joe from Nova Scotia. Jack from the Sunshine Coast in Canada. Leslie from South Dakota near Mount Rushmore. Bob from Florida. Wow, fantastic, wonderful. Too many to mention here. If I haven't said hello already and welcome, then I wish you a very good welcome here today. So who is this webinar for tonight? So let me see if I can make this technology work. Okay. So if you're not making enough money for the long hours that you work already, this webinar is for you. You need to fill rooms in the low season. A lot of you filled in the questions. Thank you very much for filling in the questionnaire when you registered for the webinar that you need to fill rooms in the low season. This webinar is for you. You fed up with people driving you down on price and then disrespecting your home, people turning up and asking for discounts. This webinar is for you too. If you're frustrated with all the online technology, and a lot of you said this in your questions, that you didn't know where to do the marketing, this webinar is for you. You're worried about the local competition. I know one or two of you said that too. Again, this webinar is for you. You're worried about paying the bills. I know what that feels like. Trust me, I've been there, and this webinar will help you. You recognise also that you need to invest the time, effort, and even money to turn things around. Very, very important. And you are ready right now. This webinar is not for happy people running a hobby business. If you're just making a little bit of money, and I guess you're not on this webinar if you're happy running a hobby business. And actually, it's fine to run a hobby business. I'm not knocking that at all. I did it for several years. But if you really want to make some serious money, then you need to be on this call. Now, if you're looking for a quick fix magic pill, that's not going to happen either. I hate to tell you that, but there is work to do if you really want to have a successful bed and breakfast business making at least $100,000 a year. And if you're not prepared to invest the time and effort, and yes, like I said, the money to move forward, this webinar is not for you either. And perhaps you're just not ready. So out of respect for your time, if you fall into any of those categories, then this webinar is not for you. So how tonight works. We've already had a look at the control screen on the side. You know how to ask questions, and I do want interaction. This is an interactive webinar, so I love it when you ask questions and put comments in the questions box. So do feel free to do that as often as you want to, and I'll do my best. We have about an hour together, so grab a pen and paper to take lots of notes. I'm going to share the 6 key principles to creating and running a successful, profitable and professional bed and breakfast business. I'm also going to share just one of the strategies I personally used to skyrocket my business that you can copy straight away in your bed and breakfast business. So stay tuned for that. There's going to be a live Q&A session where you can get personal help from me later on the webinar, so stay tuned for that as well. If you want to speak directly to me, I will open the lines up and you can speak to me and I will answer any issues that you have. Do my best to answer any issues that you have here on the call. And at the end of the webinar, I will invite you to a 1-hour in-depth strategy session if you choose to take me up on that offer. So let's get started. How to turn your 10K B&B hobby into a professional 100,000K, 100K B&B business. The 6 key principles, what are they? Okay, so the first principle is a success mindset. This is vitally important that you be in the can-do mindset instead of coming up with reasons why it won't work. I love to work with people who just do it instead of coming up with excuses why they can't. So be sure you're in the right mindset if you want to dramatically increase your income. Desperately important. Next, decide on who you want to serve. Now, thanks to the internet, we can now choose our guests. We can really. We don't have to take everybody and his dog. Your niche is where you can become the king or queen in your B&B. You just have to step out and be somebody for your guests. And I'm going to show you one simple way to set yourself apart from what everyone else is doing in order to be that person for your guests. Your website, once you've decided who you want to serve, we can then design and construct a website to attract those guests, using images and language that they can relate to, or that they would want to see on your website. Now, you may be saying, well, I have tourists who come in the high season and they come with their families or they come with their dogs, we have wheelchair access. That's not that's not a specific enough niche. It's a good niche, but we need to drill down and find out what those people are interested in particularly and how you can help them get what they want. That's what a real niche is. Everyone serves tourists, lots of B&Bs serve tourists in their area. But I'm talking about drilling down and getting very, very specific on who you want to have in your B&B. And this is so easy to do now that we have the internet. And then your website, constructing that to attract those people, and there are ways in which you can do that as well. Care and nurturing of all guests, thereby building trust in you and increasing your turnover and profit. Again, just be somebody that they trust and respect. Set up your automated systems as far as you can to keep in touch regularly. Now, just to tell me, are you keeping in touch with your past guests and prospects regularly? Just tap into the questions box. Just say yes or no. Are you keeping in touch with your past guests and prospects regularly, on a regular basis? No, yes, no, yes. No, 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 some of the time. No, no, no. Yes, I'm getting some yeses, that's good. Not yet. I like your style, Barbara. Yes, through constant contact. Excellent, excellent. Yes, okay, lots of no's, I'm sorry to see that. Never mind, you're in the right place, don't worry. Really, really important to keep in touch. The next principle is to, let's see if I can get, sometimes this gets stuck. Build a team. Now, I know that maybe you're running around doing everything yourself, and I was doing that too. I know what that feels like. But I hope that that's something that you want to change. You simply cannot do everything in your B&B, and you shouldn't either. So think about who you can help in your local area by giving them a job, even if it's only part-time. We as business owners are the people who give other people jobs, and we must be those people in our local area, helping the local community. Now, just tap into the questions box. Are you doing everything yourself, or do you have a team? Just give me a signal here. Team, great stuff, good. Okay, everything myself, yes, myself, yes, I do it all. We have a great team, good. Yes, I do the cleaning and yard. I have somebody to do the cleaning and yard work. Yes, me and my wife, we do it all. Yes, we do it all. Yes, I'm doing it all. I'm doing it all. Myself, me. Okay, so I hope that's something that you can think about changing, because that simply is not going to work. You just can't do it all. You're absolutely right, Ian. You just can't do it all. And it's useless to try it. Okay, final thing on the 6 principles. Record everything, financials. Okay, you must have accurate records of your financials to record everything that you're doing on a daily, weekly, monthly and annual basis. The numbers don't lie, and having accurate financial records means you will be in control and not guessing. Now, do you know where you are on a daily or weekly basis with your financials, yes or no? Tap into the questions box, yes, yes, no, no. Sometimes. No, will improve. I like your style, Elizabeth. No, not yet. Sometimes. No, no. A little bit. No, 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 yes, yes. Okay, the majority of you aren't. So some of you are using some software like QuickBooks, which is great. But most of you don't know where you are. This is really, really vitally important. So this is one of the 6 key principles that is very, very important. Okay, so let me just go on to the next slide here and carry on. Okay, so those are the 6 principles that I just shared with you, but now I want to look at the questions that you tapped in when you registered for the webinar today. So just to make sure that I've understood you correctly, are these your problems? How do I get more guests? How do I get my occupancy rate up? How do I find the best places to market, advertise? How do I encourage repeat business? How do I beat the local competition? How do I increase bookings during quiet periods? Big one, this one. How do I educate guests about who and what we are? Got something for you later, whoever put that in. Increase turnover. How do I increase turnover? And how do I increase profit? Now, just to make sure, as I say, that I've understood you correctly, are these your issues? Make sure we're on the same page here. Can you just type in the questions box, yes? Yes. 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 Absolutely, absolutely, yes, absolutely correct. Thank you, yes. Great, so some, not all of them, okay. How do you know what to charge? Okay, that's another one. Okay, these are all very, very valid questions, and I'm going to show you something in a little while where you can get over these issues. Okay, good. So now that we're on the same page and that those are your questions, let's go to the next slide. Oh, here's the last one here, paying the bills. So what's the answer? What's the answer? Get more guests. That's the answer, isn't it? How do we get more guests? We're doing everything that we know how to do right now, and we're not making the money. We're not filling the rooms in the low season. Some of us are barely paying the bills. Some of us don't know what to charge. Some of us don't know how to get more guests. So we could carry on doing what we're doing, which is using large booking engines, which take pretty hefty commissions. I know some of them take up to 15–20% commissions. We could do that. We could discount our prices to encourage guests to come back. And we could waste time on social media just kind of doing what we do and just making comments and not really knowing who we're talking to. We could make a lot of noise, but you know what? None of this really gets any results. Would you agree with that? Tell me yes or no. Yes, 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 yes. This is what many B&Bs are doing. Yes, yes, yes. Speak to me. Yes, lovely. Thank you. Tried a couple and not worked. Yes, yes. This doesn't work. This really doesn't work long term, because when you're using the large booking engines, you're giving away your power to someone else to do the marketing for you. When you take control of your own marketing, things change. Trust me, they do. If you're discounting, you're on a spiral, you're on a death spiral, because you're discounting. You're letting people know that you don't value, you don't think that your original price is the right price, so therefore you're giving away your rooms, or discounting your rooms and services to get people in. It's almost like prostitution in a sort of nice way. We waste time on social media, and this is a big one. I know that people are obsessed with Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn, but there is one question that you have to ask yourself before you do any marketing at all, and I'll get to that in a moment, because all of that just makes a lot of noise, and it's like a scattergun approach, just being there and not really saying anything, not really going there with an outcome that you want to achieve, because you don't really know who you're talking to. And as we've just established, none of this really gets any results. So the critical question you must ask yourself before doing any advertising at all is, who am I talking to? Who do I want to talk to? And you need to be having a clear idea, a written down idea of who you want to have in your B&B. And this goes back to defining your niche. This is very, very important that you define your niche. There are some more questions in the questions box, and I will come to them at the end. Okay, so yes, social media does supposedly get your online search up, yes or no, but you have to know who you're talking to. You have to know who you are marketing to. Otherwise, it's just a waste of time. It's just making a lot of noise. And there are so many people on social media just making a lot of noise. We don't want to be doing that. We want to be targeted. We want to be focused. We want to have an outcome, an intention, and an outcome in mind to have people do what we want them to do, which is book rooms. Okay, we could do all that. Or we could do something completely different. We could create an easy, automated way to bring a consistent flow of guests to your B&B. So this is what I did. This is one of the things I did to get to 100K. Okay? So you can copy this. I'm sharing this with you now, so you can copy. First of all, I defined my niche. Okay? I live in the Champagne region. Most people, not all, most people who come to the Champagne region are looking to discover the hidden gems of Champagne. The Champagne producers that don't advertise, they're not big brands, and we know who they are. So I defined my niche as the Champagne queen, if you like, of the B&B region here in Champagne. So it's absolutely imperative, essential that you define your niche. As I said before, tourist is not a niche, it's too big. You've got to get really very specific on who you're going to attract to your B&B. Next, I did some online research to find out that people wanted what I was planning to create. Next, I created a free guide, and in this free guide I put in some information that I knew personally about my area. Now this is information that you have in your head that you take for granted. Think about it. How many times have you answered the same questions over and over again verbally? How many times have you answered those in your B&B? Often, I would guess. This is the insider knowledge that only you know because you live there, because you operate in that area. You know your local area. You know where to go to find things. You know the best restaurants. You know where the attractions are. You know where the art studios are. You know where the theme parks are. You know all this stuff. You know the best way to get to somewhere by avoiding some obstacle or something. You know all this. And that's the value that you have, that you need to put into a free guide to your local area based on your target market and their needs. Now the online research is about finding out what people are asking. I created a free guide, and then I created a sales page with an opt-in box using a list manager. And this is something that we touched on earlier about constant contact. So I created a sales page, and then I found my market online and got my free guide into the hands of as many of my target guests as possible. Now this is targeted online marketing. This is not making a noise. This is going after the people who want what I have. Okay? Is that okay? Does anybody have any questions at this stage? Speak to me. Do you have any questions? Pop some questions in the questions box. If you have any questions about what I've just described. How did I get this to work? Well, I've just described how it worked. Excellent point. Thank you. This is how it works, Ian. This is how it works. Define your niche. Do online research. Create a free guide. How do I get the names? I got the names from my opt-in box. I have a strategy. How did I find my market? I found my market online. I did some research. I tapped in some keywords. Okay, let me see what else. Yes, I researched who wanted to go to my area. Yeah. How did you do your online research? Keyword research. You can use online forums. You can go to you can go to groups on some of the big platforms like LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitter. You can find people. You find your people if you set about it. Once you've defined who you want to serve. Very, very important. Okay, let's move on. Thanks for your questions, guys. I appreciate that. Okay, so those were your questions. So, are you ready? Are you ready to seriously impact your B&B so that you turn it into, from a hobby business or whatever you're earning right now, into a professional and profitable 100K business? Are you ready? And take more time off. So what you need to do now is book a unique problem-solving bed and breakfast strategy session with me. Okay? In this strategy session, this is a 1-hour session on Skype, sorry, where I will review with you where you are now and where you want to be. I will also identify your gaps and recognize your value. I will get out of you your unique value, and so that we can package that and get it out there. I will also plan with you how you can move your business forward very, very quickly using some strategies, one of which I've just shared with you, but there are others. So here's what others have said who have worked with me, either on a strategy session or in my coaching. I would definitely recommend that you listen to Yvonne and take her advice. We did, and it made all the difference to our lives and our business. You have to implement what I tell you, okay? Yvonne's experience in the B&B business has helped me to get clear as to how to quickly change the direction of my struggling business. Since implementing her strategies, my business has increased dramatically in just a few months. So what's the deal? Your personal hour-long strategy session is normally going to cost £197. I put it in all three currencies here, $327 or €241. That's the normal price, but I have a special price for you for turning up on the webinar today. This is just £97, $147 and €119. Plus, I'm going to give you two bonus gifts, which is my essential blogging strategy, which goes hand in hand with the strategy I've just shared with you about creating a free guide, plus my homepage website template. Now, one or two of you on the call tonight, I know, are at the early stages of creating a bed and breakfast business. This homepage website template contains all the essential elements that you need to have on the homepage of your website. Some people put too much stuff on the homepage, some people don't put enough. There is no rhyme or reason to how they do it. This template works. This is the one I personally use, this is the one I share with my coaching clients, and it will work for you too. So those are my two bonus gifts. Your personal 1 hour long strategy session for just £97, $149 or €119, plus these two bonus gifts. So what you need to do now is go to this page and book yourself in for a strategy session. There's a PayPal button there that you can pay using your debit or credit card. Once you've paid, I will be in touch to book a strategy session, a time to suit you and me in the very near future and get you started. This is the moment, guys. This is the time of the year to get this going. If you're in the Northern Hemisphere, it's the low season. This is the time when you have this is the moment when you have the time to do the work that needs to be done to ensure your success, to dramatically increase your income over the next 12 months. I'm looking forward to helping as many of you as possible, and I do hope you'll join me on this. Now, let me see, let me just show you where you go, what you'll see when you go to this page, okay? So when you go, this is what you'll see, okay? This is the page that you'll see when you go to the 1 hour private strategy session. So let me just give you the link again so that you can see it. I'll put the webinar back. Here we go. Pop this back on the screen so that you've got the link in case you want to go there right now. Which I hope you will, of course. I want to help as many people as possible. Now, do you have any more questions? Is there anything else that I can help you with before we close the webinar tonight? Tap them into the questions box and let me help you. And if you want to speak, do put your hand up. There's a hand raising facility here. Let me see who's got their hands up already. Let me see. Has anybody got their hand up already? Let me see. Put your hand up if you want to speak to me. I'm happy to help you live on this call with your particular issue. Anything you don't understand or anything, aha, okay. Okay, Lynn, let's talk to you. I'm going to unmute you now, Lynn, okay? Hi, Lynn. Hi, how are you? How can I help?
Good, good. What is the important strategies in blogging?
What is the important strategies involved? In which bit, Lynn?
In blogging?
Okay,
writing a blog.
Writing a blog. Okay, the important blogging strategies. Well, you'll get that free bonus gift with the blogging strategy if you book a strategy session. But essentially, the same principles apply to blogging as to a successful B&B business, and that is to define your niche, and then to write to that niche, write blog posts to that niche. Don't write general stuff. Write blog posts that interest your niche. Does that help?
All right. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Lynn. Thank you. Nice to see you here. Okay. Okay, let me see. Who else has got their hand up? Let me just put your hand down. Who else has got their hand up and wants to speak? Okay. Nobody wants to talk to me? Let me see if there's any more questions. I'd love you to talk. I'd love to chat to you. So let me see what I've missed in the questions box here. So let's just see. How did they find your opt-in box? How do you do your online research? Okay. Okay. Okay, let me answer some of these questions here then, okay? Does anybody want to speak? Has anybody got their hand up? Let me see if anybody else has got their hand up before I answer these questions in here. Oops. Let me just go to this attendee box and see if anybody's got their hand up. Okay, Susan. Okay, Susan, I'm going to unmute you now, okay, so you can ask the question. Hi, Susan.
Hi, Yvonne. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great, thanks.
How can I help you?
We had talked about attracting people in the off-season. If the issue is that there's nothing for them to do, how do you get them to come?
Well, when you say there's nothing for them to do, are you saying that the whole town has closed down and gone to sleep?
Basically.
Well, in that case, Susan, I would set about making more money in the high season so that you too can close down and go to sleep in the low season, if there really isn't anything going on in your area in the low season. Usually you can find something, but seriously, you need to be thinking about how you can make more money in the high season and give yourself some time off just like everyone else.
The other question I have is, do you do any promotion of your free guide to the area beyond your website?
Yes, I do. Well, I did. I don't do it anymore because I don't need to. Last year, over 300 people downloaded my free guide, and 60% of those people turned into guests.
Excellent. Would you share where you promoted it?
Well, I don't really have time on the webinar tonight, but it all comes back to defining your niche. You know, you only want to be talking to the people that are interested in what you've got. And it really is, you know, digging very deep into your own value and finding it. And that's what I do on the 1 hour strategy session. I dig deep into your value. I will find your value. And then we will translate that value into a free guide, and we will get it out there to the people who want what you have.
Great. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome, Susan. Thanks for being on the call. Okay, we have another question here. Thank you, Susan. Okay, Mike, I'm going to unmute you now. Okay, Mike, hi, how are you?
Hello, how are you?
I'm great, thanks. Have you enjoyed the webinar? Was it useful?
Yes, I've got some ideas here.
Great.
I think some of the stuff I am currently doing, but I like your defining the niche. We've got a couple of things that we have a wine region around here, and we have a birding region around here where people do bird watching, and I'm wondering, can you have 2 or 3 different niches like that to work with?
Sure you can, but I would recommend, Mike, that you just focus on one at a time. Pick one that interests you the most, the niche that you can write about, the niche that you can, you know, do articles on and do blog posts on. You know, the thing about your niche is you've got to be interested in it. You know, it's no good writing about fishing if you couldn't give a monkeys about fishing. You know, even if you're in a fishing area, you have to find out what other people are coming to your area for. You know, so that you can tailor your messages to a niche that you can actually get involved with. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yes, it makes sense.
Pick one at a time.
One at a time, and then once you've got that one, then you can go to another?
Yeah, that's right. Just get one up and running, do some promotion, do some marketing, go find your people online, and then, you know, and then you just need to let it go. I mean, I don't do any marketing now on my free guide. It just ticks along, and, you know, every day somebody downloads it.
Okay, so what you're also saying at the beginning was that you don't use like bedandbreakfast.com or B&B Online or these places now. You're just pretty much out there marketing yourself.
Mike, I never did. I never did, because for a start, 12 years ago when I started, they weren't around. But when I got serious about my bed and breakfast business, I wanted to learn how to market my own business. I didn't want to hand over my power to these other booking engines, and I still don't, and I don't believe in it. I mean, sometimes, yeah, maybe, you know, but from my perspective, I don't need to do it, and I don't believe anybody does, frankly, because you need to be taking control of your own marketing, your own messages. You know, you don't want to be reliant at the mercy of these big booking engines who seriously don't really care about you and your audience. And what happens, I was working with somebody recently, and they were having a lot of bookings from booking.com. And yes, it was working really, really well. But you know what? They just weren't getting any connection with the guests, and they weren't enjoying the bed and breakfast because of the type of guests that were coming. Because there's no connection. There's no connection. And one of the great things about running a B&B is the connection we have with our guests. Would you agree?
Yes.
Yeah, and that's why people choose B&Bs, because they want a connection. But, you know, if you're not getting the connection with your guests, then, you know, it makes for a miserable experience for all of you. And when that goes on and on, you know, you start to wonder what you're doing it for. So I advocate, you know, getting really clear about who you want to serve, who you want to have in your B&B, and then, you know, speaking to that person. That is the one thing you must ask yourself: who am I talking to with this message?
Okay.
Does that help?
Well, yes, thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Thanks for being here. Okay, wonderful. Let me just put his hand down. Right, anybody else want to ask a question or speak? Okay, fabulous. So let me see if anybody else has typed anything in the questions box. Okay, I think I've covered all this. Okay. How did I get the names? I used the opt-in box. Okay, so that pretty much wraps up the webinar for tonight. If you're ready to go now and you're ready to book a strategy session with me, then please go to the link on the bottom of this page. I'll leave it up for a few more minutes. And I'm looking forward to helping as many of you as possible in the next few weeks and getting your bed and breakfast business running perfectly and making you a lot more money and you having a lot more fun, which is really, really important too. So let me say now, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here tonight, and I'll look forward to seeing you soon. Bye-bye.